I remember at this point in my sabbatical, had so many layers of complicated emotions, and I was still feeling very, very stressed, very, very tired. Had low energy because I was battling depression and a long to-do list. So the plan was to, pack up all my stuff, get rid of most of my stuff, pack it up, and then moving back across country to be back near family and friends with no job plan or career plan or anything at that point. But I was on a timeline, I was up against a deadline, and I just remember so many different logistical things needed to all fall into place. And if one went wrong, it was all gonna sort of, it was just gonna like snowball and be a problem. And that's what I remember from the early days of my sabbatical, which was also as I was saying goodbye to an era, a life that I loved in so many ways in California. So, as a reminder, my name is Amy Palmer. I am your Gen X big sister, and I am publishing for the first time my video diaries from when I went on sabbatical 4 years ago. If you follow this channel, you know that I have credited my 3-month sabbatical to saving my life, providing clarity, and helping me to launch this current season that I'm in, which I am literally the happiest that I've ever been in my entire adult life. And if it hadn't been for taking this time out and taking this break, it never would have happened. And so today I'm gonna share day 4, day 5, and day 7 with you. I haven't watched them yet. I do know that I didn't video diary every single day, so that's why it skips a little bit, but let's share and let's see what I had to say. Live from Laguna Beach on Saturday, day 4 of my Summer Transformation Sabbaatical. First, I want to thank you guys. I've gotten so many fabulous messages, both public and privately, and calls and texts. So I really appreciate everybody reaching out. I've been posting this on a couple of different social media platforms, both of my Facebook accounts and my Instagram, linking it to the blog. And I skipped yesterday because I had a very busy day, and I got messages from people asking me, are you posting today? So that was pretty cool. When you go to the blog, you can click follow at the bottom and put in your email, and you'll get like a notification when a new post comes up. But I wanted to share a little bit about what is happening right now. I've been packing. You can see messes behind me as I get ready to pack and donate and trash and all kinds of stuff. So I'll tell you all about that another time. So the last several days, I've been saying my goodbyes, and it's been a lot. It's been a lot. It's been hard. And it's funny, the thing that came into mind when I put in my 2 weeks notice at my job, I kind of just wanted to do an Irish goodbye, like an Irish exit, like at the end of the party. I'm not big on goodbyes. I hate it. I kind of like to just sort of drift off. But there's definitely people that I wanted to make sure that I, would see, have some time with before I leave, which is now less than 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks from yesterday that I'll be leaving California. So I wanted to show you a little bit of what I've been doing the last couple of days. So let's see, there you go. Okay, here we go. So this is some of my crew from work. We had a very fun happy hour the Thursday. The rest of the crew actually surprised me last Friday with a surprise lunch, even after I told them not to do that. They did it anyway, and I was completely surprised, which was wonderful. But I didn't get a picture of that, so that was a bummer. So here's some of our crew. Here's Jenny. I'm gonna miss Jenny from Huntington Beach. And then last night had a great time with Aaron, who built our beautiful, beautiful brand for our wonderful schools. We had a great time on the rooftop at Mission Pacific in Oceanside. I had been there before. I went with a couple of friends, Wendy and Janelle. Hello. But when we went, it was like rainy and gray, so we didn't get the full experience. So last night, Aaron and I just had a great time, and the vibe changed as the night went on. It was a lot of fun. So that was good. Oh, we got to see, there's like a little house right in front of the hotel where we were meeting up. And Aaron's like, hey, is that the Top Gun house? I was like, no, it's just a house. But we went to the front. Apparently it is a Top Gun house. So I guess it was the house that was used in the first movie. I think it was Kelly McGillis's character's house is what Aaron told me. So we got a little picture there. And then, this morning, yeah, I went for a wonderful walk with my friend Andrea in Heisler Park. So I can't get enough of Heisler Park. And I was telling Andrea how difficult it is to, obviously to leave some of the people, but also I just have such a connection to where I live. So I'm going to miss Laguna very, very much. And in this process of saying goodbyes, I'm glad I didn't completely Irish exit it, because several of my colleagues and teammates sent me messages, cards, and calls, and the content of what they said just filled my heart. Like my heart was so full hearing basically people sharing how I've impacted them, or why they're going to miss me, things like that. And it basically, what it did is it reminded me of the why, which we talk about a lot, really focusing on the why, and Simon Sinek, and start with why. But my why, when I, anytime I was in a corporate leadership role, my why was I loved to help and develop other people and help them grow and help them reach their goals and help them reach new heights. And these last couple of years, I've kind of lost sight of that because of additional stresses and, a lot of other stuff. So it was nice to hear and be reminded of the impact that I've had on other people. Like I definitely brought tears to my eyes, but my heart was absolutely full. So that's what I've been spending the last couple of days on. I'm behind on my packing schedule, as you can kind of see with the pile behind me, but the rest of my apartment is completely trashed and I have a schedule set up. But hope everybody has a wonderful day, and I will see you again soon. Bye. That was interesting. It was great seeing pictures of my former coworkers. We spent a lot of time together. We worked on a lot of, they were very important parts of my life. And it's interesting because I'm heading to California in a couple of weeks, and I'm hoping to get back to, I am going to be in Orange County for a couple of days. So I'm hoping to at least get to see some of the people that I was saying goodbye to at that point. And I do remember wanting to just do an Irish goodbye, like not formally or not saying goodbye face to face, and just sort of like slip away. I'm thinking that you guys can relate to that. But I found myself, as I was watching that, the emotions that were coming up were, I saw a couple pieces of artwork on the wall behind me that I haven't seen in a while. They've been packed up. It's in my storage unit. So it was interesting that like a piece of art, I was like, oh, wow, I miss that. I miss seeing that. And just getting a little glimpse of my old Laguna Beach apartment. And you don't know that in that video, I'm facing these big windows overlooking the village and with like a little ocean view over to my right. And I just get so filled with emotion every time I think about that home. So I miss the place where I was a lot. And when I left, I pretty much knew I would not likely be moving back because it's so astronomically expensive. And so trying to live an expensive life just was adding to my stress. So these last several years since I've been on the sabbatical, I've been back to Laguna Beach multiple times and have even like stayed in places, near the beach a few times. So just finding ways to still enjoy it and soak it up without living the expense of the life there. I mean, I would love to have it both ways and just somehow become so enormously wealthy that I could do that, but that's not happening right now. And my perspective has changed on what I'm looking for and what I want to have happen. So there's that. All right, let's look at day 5. What did day 5? Oops, don't start yet. Hold on. What did day 5 look like? Good morning, everybody. It's Amy on Sunday morning coming at you live from Laguna Beach. Today I'm gonna talk a little bit about how I've prepared myself to tackle the huge task of moving cross country by myself when I'm not at my best, which I'm not when you're mentally, emotionally, physically, struggling in different ways. So I'll tell you that I thought about this move for quite some time, probably I don't even know how long, but quite some time. I've known I've needed a break for a long time. Actually deciding to leave and take this break probably started to materialize somewhere around the holidays, maybe, or just before, I'm not sure. But anyway, I did a lot of advanced thinking about all the things that would need to happen. And to be honest, it was very overwhelming. Like when you're having days where all of your energy is just being funneled into your job, like it was taking everything in me to do my job and to do it well and to be there for other people. So I was investing all of that energy in that and often had little to nothing left over at the end of the day or on the weekends or whatever. So the way that I did it was I broke it down into tiny little pieces. And I'm sure I've read this somewhere in, all different time management books and stuff like that. But I broke it down into little pieces, tried to think of everything that I needed to do, not just to pack and prepare the apartment, but what did I need to do to get my expenses down to almost nothing? What did I want to do with my belongings? What's the best way to manage that? And then I utilized the reminder app in my iPhone. I don't know, I'm sure you guys have used it or whatever, and you can make like different lists. So I have a list for the move. Transformation is basically any personal development stuff to focus on, which I'm not there yet. Things I want to sell, things that I want to pack in my car because I'm shipping my car. I had a garage sale, so things I wanted to do for that. And then when it came to the move, I broke it down into tiny little pieces. Like I even have in here sort and pack pantry part 1, sort and pack pantry part 2, part 3, knowing that it was going to take more than one time to do it. I set this up so that when things are complete, the completed items stay in there because it just makes me feel good. You can have all the completed items just disappear, but I like seeing what I've accomplished. So that's the first thing that I did. And then I recently assigned dates to the bigger tasks, so that I would have some structure. Because if I don't have some sort of structure, some sort of deadline, then it's difficult to get to it. And then when it's time to sort of dive into something, I do it in tiny little 10-minute pieces. I use Alexa. I still do this. I'm whispering because she'll answer me. I use Alexa and do like a 10-minute timer, and I'll work on the project for 10 minutes. And then I'll go back to watching a TV show or back to scrolling online, or, even, take a little nap, a little break or whatever. And then, I'll set the timer for, 20 minutes of watching a show and then 10 minutes of packing. And I just do that until the project's done. And I know people will say, well, when you're feeling down and you have no energy, no motivation, or you're feeling depressed or whatever, get outside, get moving, get exercise. I know all that. I get all that. And for those of you who have ever experienced depression and anxiety, we all know those things, right? But when you're in it, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do any of it. And in fact, when the timer goes off, I don't want to start packing and sorting again, but I do it and I push through it. And even if that means at the end of the 10 minutes, maybe I just need to, like, I don't know, lay down, whatever I need to do, and trying to be patient and kind with myself during this. And I have found that the more that I do that, then I start to feel like doing other things. So I try not to shame myself or get embarrassed about it as best as I can. It's not easy, especially when you live in paradise. I mean, if you could see what I'm looking at outside my window right now, I'll show you at some point, but it's hard not to feel guilty doing nothing when there's gorgeousness outside around you. But I can't explain the feeling well enough about you just can't. So the only way that I'm able to push through those types of things is by just being patient with myself and taking it in tiny little chunks. So that's where I am. I do want to share somebody that I follow who has been extraordinarily inspiring for me. And when I'm doing well, many elements of her advice really, really helped me tremendously. Mel Robbins, love her. Highly recommend her 2 books, The 5-Second Rule and The High 5 Habits. Both are really, really good. But there was a period of time during the pandemic where I was sort of at my peak of productivity and emotional well-being and everything. And it was 100% because I was following Mel Robbins' morning routine. I mean, I designed it for myself, but I followed her advice, and I push to follow that as much as I can. And sometimes I'm better at it than others. But I did want to share that with you. So let me play a really short clip of hers. Thank you, Mel. I'm going to put a link to that video in the comments on the blog post. But I highly recommend you go and check her out. I think she's absolutely wonderful. So everybody have a great rest of your day. Please go to my blog and click the follow button so you will get updates on when new posts come out, and I will see you soon. Bye. All right, so I still use that method to get things done when I don't feel like getting things done, when I'm lacking motivation, when I'm struggling. I still use the timer. I still put it in, chop it up into tiny little chunks. I still do all of that. But I also have a much more relaxed approach to being productive and to getting things done. I don't have the same sense of urgency and pressure that I once did. So, which is also why I didn't reshare the Mel Robbins clip that I originally shared in my video diary, because my feelings, the Mel Robbins teachings were perfect for me at a particular point in my life. And especially when I was transitioning from being in the hustle grind mode, the corporate executive mode, and trying to pull myself up by my bootstraps. Her methods and her teachings absolutely helped me to do that. I know she has become polarizing. I have very complicated feelings about her, but I think that the complicated feelings say more about me So I've always sort of been digging into, why does she trigger me now? Like where where is that coming from? And I have some thoughts. Maybe I'll talk about that someday in another video. But this one was interesting just to hear me break down how I got through the big long to-do list, which of course it's funny that I mentioned that earlier in this video. So it was a good method for me to be able to do that. So, all right, let's take a look at one more. We're going to look at day 7, I believe it is. Oh, it's Amy coming at you live on Tuesday afternoon from Laguna Beach, Pearl Street Beach to be exact. I just want to show you what I'm looking at right now. So this is Pearl Street Beach in Laguna. This is what June gloom looks like here on the California coast. So it takes most of the day to burn off the marine layer, but still gorgeous, beautiful. I'm curious what makes people choose where they want to live. How do you choose where you ultimately want to live and whether or not you want it to be your forever home? For me, Laguna was my choice from a very long ago. Probably had to be like a good 12 to 15 years ago, maybe. I was out here in California visiting an ex who lived in Marina Del Rey up in LA, and we were driving down the PCH. I don't even remember how far we came down, because just driving through Laguna Beach, I literally fell in love just from the view from PCH. I felt the vibe. I loved the coastline. I loved the artistic feel of the place. There was just something calling to me, and I felt compelled. Like I don't know. It was sort of my dream place to live. Took me a long time to get here. Well, maybe not that. I don't know. It must have taken me about 5-6 years to get here from when I first knew about it. And that has happened to me a few times in my life where I have felt connected to a place. Like where when I saw it, I felt drawn to it. I felt like it was literally the same feeling as falling in love. Like I fell in love with just the environment and the way that it made me feel. And that's happened to me a couple different times with a couple different places, but not quite like it happened here in Laguna. I've actually lived in 13 different places my whole life, starting with Syracuse and all the way up to now in Laguna. There's been 13 different places, so I've done a lot of moving. No idea where to go next. There's no place that's calling to me in quite this way. And mainly also because while I do need to have a connection to my surroundings and my environment, I also need to feel connection to the people and the relationships and that sort of thing too. And I didn't really fully explore connecting with the people here in Laguna Beach. Part of that might have been about the pandemic. Part of it was because I was so focused on work. It really took all of my focus. But I definitely want to be able to find a way to have a place that, you know, speaks to me like Laguna does, but still also have that same depth of connection with the people as well. So drop me a comment. Let me know, how did you choose where you wanted to live? I'd love to hear that. Thanks. Bye. Wow, a lot of good stuff in there. I had forgotten that I told these stories, but literally these days of my sabbatical, counting down to when my lease was going to be up and I was going to physically have to fly out, not only was I trying to get things done, I was saying goodbye, and saying goodbye to Laguna was like saying goodbye to a lover for me. It really was. And there have been multiple times in my life where I have had that sense of connection to place. So it was interesting to hear myself say that again. I still feel that way. I didn't know at this time when I made this video that I was going to be nomadic all this time, and that there was no place really calling me permanently in quite the way that Laguna Beach did. I felt that way about Washington, D.C. I felt that way about New York City. There was definitely places. I even felt that way for a little bit about Orlando, Florida, but I was much younger at that time. So I haven't necessarily felt the calling in the same way, but also what I've been looking for has been very, very different. I want to keep a nomadic life for as long as it's feasible for me to do so, because I love exploring different areas and I love seeing new places, and I love being able to pair it up with spending time with people that I want to spend time with, nationally, globally, with no borders and no limits. I haven't really experienced finding a community, local community, and feeling truly connected in that community people-wise, which I mentioned here in Laguna Beach. When I fall in love with the place, it's the environment, it's the landscape, it's the vibe, it's the feel. I don't know. It's hard to describe, but what I'm looking for is different. I'm looking for a place that I can settle. I have learned since becoming nomadic that I like a small town feel. I like it being walkable. I like being able to explore new events and new things. So I like to be not too far from cities, but in a small town feel. Love being near the ocean. Love, love, love that. But I also want something that is as low of a financial commitment as I could possibly find. I really want to maintain keeping my living expenses as low as possible to give me the freedom to do things, but also to alleviate the stress and pressure of having to hustle and grind for more and more and more just to exist. I want to be able to know that I can take a break and take a rest at any time, and that the loss of any particular stream of income does not send me into a panic. Like, I look at it a little bit more globally. And so I now consider places that 4 years ago when I made this original video, I never would have considered. It wouldn't have passed my bar at that point. So I've definitely learned the ease and comfort of living as simply as you possibly can, from a financial commitment standpoint. But I would still be interested in the question that I asked. So I would love to hear from you. Share what made you choose where you live now, where you plan to live in the future. Is it different from where you plan to live for pre-retirement leading into retirement? Does that put a different lens on it? I wasn't intentionally thinking about pre-retirement or retirement when I made these original videos 4 years ago. I mean, subconsciously I was, but I don't think I had put the language quite to it quite yet. Anyway, would love to hear from you, hear your thoughts on this series. And if you're thinking of taking some sort of a sabbatical, it might not be a 3-month thing. It might not be, starting completely over from scratch. It could be 1 week, 1 day, whatever it is. If you're thinking about it, check out the ebook that I wrote. I wrote it about a year after I took my sabbatical, and I really walked through what it took, how I planned for it, how I prepared for it, the things that I thought about. So I'll link to that in the notes and you can check that out. And I look forward to seeing you soon. This is Amy Palmer. I am your Gen X big sister, and I'm signing out.